We'll bring you details of the stories now. And the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SADA-CHRAJ, says its investigations into allegations of corruption at the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority, SADA, has been hampered by lack of resources. The Commission has not received any budgetary allocation this year, and as a result, investigation is still in its preliminary stages. Speaking to Joy News, Deputy Commissioner of SADA-CHRAJ, Richard Kwesi, noted that the Commission is yet to even conclude the preliminary stage of investigations. SADA-CHRAJ, in April last year, announced it had begun preliminary investigations into alleged corruption revealed in a Joy News investigative report on SADA. According to the Deputy Commissioner of SADA-CHRAJ, the Commission is equally concerned about the slow pace of investigation into the corruption allegation and attributed it to resource constraints. Adding, SADA-CHRAJ is currently at the stage of determining whether or not there is sufficient evidence for the Commission to begin full-scale investigation.
Dumping of refuse by residents at the shore has further compounded a situation at the La Beach. Well, it's a pleasure area here in Accra, and Justice Bedu has been visiting the area and has come through with the next report.
Strong sea waves hit the shores of La, one of Accra's foremost coastal suburbs. This wave carries along everything from plastics to human excreta. But that is the least of the troubles that the sea is causing here. A chunk of the land has already been swallowed up by the sea, perhaps due to global warming. Richard Boynai has lived in La all his life and has seen how a long stretch of green coastline has been eroded into a galley-filled dump site.
There are various things that account for these erosions. People may think the petty winning of sand along the shoreline is a contributing factor. And besides that, this has not started quite recently, but it started long ago in the 60s. You see, if you have come here in the evening around 9 o'clock, you realize that all this rubbish that has been deposited here, there's no way they can take care of it. So what they come to do is they lit fire to it, and the smoke, the pollution that gets into this community is nothing good to write home about. So it's quite a bother, and you know, rainy season is just by. With these things and the water, you know, going to have cholera and other things that we need not to be talking about now at all.
Coastal erosion has been a major worry in many coastal communities in Ghana, yet environmentalists say the situation has received very little response from government. So up to a mile of land space has already been washed away into this sea over the last 3 decades alone. This space, which previously used to be a space for relaxation and for fishermen, has now been turned into a garbage dump, and the stench alone is unbearable. Rashid is worried. Everybody, including city authorities, are looking on as the situation deteriorates in La and other parts of the country.
Who is responsible for ensuring that people do not ease themselves in the open? It's government.
Would you say government is responsible for people easing themselves?
Say that who is responsible for making sure people do not ease themselves in the open? It's government. The agency is government.
But people are supposed to have toilets in their houses.
Because they don't have, and government does not ensure that they have, right? That is why they have no other alternative than to behave like animals.
If nothing is done about this situation, it threatens to erode portions of the main Accra-Nungwa highway, which goes through La. Justice Bedu, Joy News, Accra.
Well, elsewhere, the Executive Secretary of the Coalition of NGOs in Water and Sanitation has tasked traditional authorities to get the country's sanitation issues solved by forcing the various laws on sanitation at the local level.
To Benjamin Arthur, when traditional rulers punish anyone who flouts the law, other members of the community will be wary of the dangers of poor sanitary conditions and will complement the efforts of government towards getting cleaner, healthier environments.
It's also on the community members and the traditional authorities to do more. Yes, we all look up to the government, but government is also us. That at our household level, at our community level, the traditional authorities have some power. They have, they have what they call some values which were helping to promote hygiene environment in their communities. Where are these values? We can bring them back. The traditional leaders should take the steps, the initiatives, at least at your community level, enforce the laws in your community. Because if most of our traditional leaders can say, hey, today we are not doing this, if a community member is caught in this act, this is the punishment that we are going to mete out to that person. If the community agrees, they will find a way of enforcing that law, that mechanism.
He further asked individuals to play their roles well by asking their landlords to provide sanitary facilities whenever they go out to rent rooms.
So individually, we have a role to play. If you are living in a house where there is no latrine, you have to work something out with your landlord to make sure that latrine is provided. It's cheaper for you to have latrine in your homes than to walk outside and even a queue. And that is the challenge we have with the public latrine. That is why it's not working. It's designed for a certain number of population, like those who are coming to the market and going. So they have a threshold. But when we leave our houses and go and use it as a household latrine, we definitely exceed the threshold. Then it starts smelling. So the challenge is for us, the individual. If we're able to stand up on these things, I think we can hold the government also to account for his component of the work.
So let's turn our attention to some crime news. And days before he went missing, 8-year-old Nana Kwame, well, he promised to buy his mother a car when he becomes old enough to do so. But that dream will never materialize. And the family of the 8-year-old whose body was found in a nearby school, well, they are yet to come out with terms with the sudden tragic death of their beloved son.
The last time residents saw Nana Kwame was on Easter Sunday. He was wearing a pair of khaki trousers and a white shirt. Having run errands for his mom a few hours earlier, Nana Kwame was last seen in the company of 2 unknown persons. Until his untimely death, the kindergarten 2 pupil was said to be very sociable and played with almost every kid in the neighborhood. His mutilated body was found on Tuesday morning after a resident discovered it in a pit in the Ebenezer Secondary School, where he had gone to attend nature's call. Family of the 8-year-old boy cannot come to terms with the sudden demise of their son. The entire neighborhood has been thrown into a state of shock and fear as they gathered at his home to mourn with the relatives. Trying to maintain a calm demeanor, Nana Kwame's mother remembers his promise to her just days before he was murdered.
Sister Mama Mario, Uncle Darling, Namako Darling. Nane a ubedi den o sama menemi didi medi doku ti mami bi weche ono amandoku so no na mini didi nti e kan den na di mi se makuma enya nipa mi sisters na muti no aka bibi be ye mi sister se meni da so na ye mi ban mo di mi
This is Kwaku. And Tuesday, na you na to say around to say 6:47. Na I'm catching me say Mr. B Frame catching me say you see what he say yakun akoda bi wo atomic wo Ebenezer horse side. Na me so me dem tissue yes I tell me frame me black penny e fe ni kito me bisa no na me frame kito no catch me say dia wakati dia metinu yes a ampa ara sempa ni ha me pa me no dia metima kan wo sa asemu nti ene so ayeko Ebenezer inside ho no se ko hwehwe se ebe hu akoda no ni panta na dia na ayeko ayeko hu moja wo edem bi wo Ebenezer den ho.
Residents of Atomic, the Dansuman suburb where the boy was killed, are calling on the police to intensify security in the neighborhood.
Ampa eyemiya nti mi chichi mi mane nyina mi mo bia wo ni se mo bia ampi mi nsuma won so mi ameko suma no amo bia hu ato bia so wo era no mo ye hu obia ye hu enu a ye be pie ye se obia ye beti ye si ya nti obia bo hu wo era no ye suro pa ama hu aboye nti bibisi da
mi beti asem no de aye mi nwanwa I am a club, maybe so consulting me, see a pan, sana, me could dance, na I am a crab, and said, Munsha, some yet to me, Jai, as some no sa, because Obiba, no more chin, no more chan, more cum, ya say. Yapa, and say, I did not yummy, the overthrown, ya named the and said,
The Dansuman Police Command has since opened investigations into the incident, which is believed to be a ritual murder. Matilda Pumagan for Joy News, Accra.
And we will be following the story closely. We'll give you updates as and when they do come in. But 4 persons have been arrested by police in the northern region over the killing of a man following a brawl between 2 families in Pigwa in the Savalugu district. Husseini Majid died from gunshot wounds he sustained during the scuffle. The suspects are being questioned by the police and are to be arraigned before court soon. They will be charged with murder. The PRO for the Northern Regional Police Command, ASP Ebenezer Tete, said the police are committed to ensuring peace in the area. Meanwhile, Executive Secretary of the National Commission on Small Arms, Jones Bote Aple, has admitted retrieving weapons from civilians in the northern part of the country will be a daunting task.
So we're being told that President John Dramani Mahama has announced changes to the leadership of the Customs Excise and Preventive Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, the GRA, while as Kofi Akondo, Assistant Commissioner, is replacing Isaac Ofoe Aprunti as the Acting Commissioner and is taking effective May 5, 2014.
Well, Ghana is said to be producing enough to ensure food security. According to the Food and Agricultural Ministry, 2013 records show the country is secured in root and tuber crops, starchy staples, as well as some grain products with a total GDP growth of 5.2% for 2013. Addressing the media that meets the press series, Sector Minister Clement Kofi Homado, however, conceded dealing with high post-harvest losses remains a great challenge.
Cassava, yam, maize and millet are some of the crops that are being produced in abundance, according to the Agric Ministry. Apart from the issue of post-harvest losses plaguing production of these crops, the ministry says it is also concerned about low quality of yams, which is gravely affecting exports. Ghana, however, is not self-sufficient in rice, tomato, poultry and livestock production. This is evident in the more than 644,000 metric tons of rice imported into the country last year. The ministry says it intends to achieve self-sufficiency in rice by 2018 and also reduce post-harvest losses of tomatoes.
But the problem is, first of all, how to produce tomato in the off-season in order to take care of our population. And also during the time of glut, how we manage the post-harvest losses of the glut that is produced. So we have identified that we can do this through protected systems. They are like greenhouses, but specially designed to simulate the microclimate required for tomato production. In order to upscale rice production, you need good seeds, high-yielding seeds. So we are working with programs such as WAP, AGRA, and others in order to select rice varieties that do better than what we have now. At least from the 4.6 average per metric tons per hectare, we want to move it to about 6 metric tons per hectare.
Generally, government seems to have a positive attitude towards the adoption of the genetic modification technology as one of the ways of addressing food security challenges in the country.
GM is just one potential technology that can improve our productivity. And the ministry has adequate tools, regulations, instruments that can subject any technology that is the result of GM research to those tests on its merit before we can attempt to invite farmers to produce such varieties.
Ghana is currently testing nitrogen and water efficient GM rice, pest and disease tolerant cowpea, as well as BT cotton. The ministry also says there has been increase in fish farming and aquaculture and a steady improvement in agriculture mechanization to propel production.
Well, the one who compiled that very story is my colleague Adelaide Arthur, and the Minister for Food and Agriculture has meanwhile congratulated her for winning for being the first runner-up in the television category of this year's AU Commission's Comprehensive Africa Agricultural Development Project Media Awards that took place in South Africa more recently.
The Maputo Declaration that requires that we allocate 10% of GDP annually to agriculture. I want to find out if Ghana is actually complying. If not, what is hindering us? Thank you.
Adelaide Arthur, first of all, let me congratulate you for winning an award in South Africa under the Comprehensive African Agricultural Development Program, CADIP. I should have been there to support you, but my staff there were there to support you. Congratulations. Yes, indeed, in the year 2003, the heads of states of most African countries met in Maputo, Mozambique, where they made certain declarations. They asked member countries to allocate a minimum of 10% of their annual budget to agriculture. Since then, Ghana has been doing its best to meet this target. Even though currently we are averaging 9% of the annual budget, from the explanation that I gave earlier that the agricultural sector is made up of 5 subsectors, we need to disaggregate this 9% according to those sectors that are within the Ministry of Food and Agriculture's control. And if we do that, we realize that the percentage is quite low. It's like 2% of the national budget, which means that the cocoa sector and other sectors take the lion's share.
Well, and as the sector minister celebrates one of our own, we also do celebrate her, and we say congratulations again to Adelaide Arthur. The Ghana Highway Authority has been directed to remove all illegal speed ramps on the country's highways. They have also been asked to replace those they removed with appropriately designed ones and provide corridors that need the facility to reduce the high rate at which members of communities are erecting the illegal speed ramps. The Minister of Roads and Highways, Alhaji Amin Amidu Suleimani, who gave the directive, stated that the illegal speed ramps constructed by communities apparently to check speeding have rather become death traps on the country's highways and streets. He observed the killer ramps constructed without authorization and specification from the Road Authority have also become a nuisance to the traveling public.
Well, with that road safety advocacy story, we conclude news headlines on the show. Before we go, though, a recap of our top stories. And the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SADA-CHRAJ, is unable to investigate SADA corruption allegations due to resource constraints.
And strong tidal waves causing devastation to the shorelines of La Beach, a suburb of Accra. We've brought you a report on that.
Well, the family of the 8-year-old boy whose body was found in a nearby school are yet to come to terms with the sudden tragic death of their son. And while, well, neighbors within the community in which he lives said the 8-year-old boy, Nana Yao in Dansoman, his very tragic incident was as tragic as it could get, and they're also calling for increased security for neighbors within the area.
We do have some more stories at myjoyonline.com, but for now, that will be it. We'll bring you sports next.
We'll stay on. We'll be right back. We have the social network pages made available for you. Join News on TV is a page on Facebook, and also we have a handle. Many of you don't keep giving us those messages on Twitter. AM Show on TV is also a handle on Twitter. And what's your handle?
I haven't got one yet.
Right.
I'm not.
You're not a social media savvy person. You're just not so much.
No. I mean, if you say social media, you're broadening it. I'm just saying.
You're on Facebook.
The tweet stuff.
You know,
I'm not comfortable with it yet.
Right.
Of course,
you know, I have a couple of my friends who are on BBM app, they're on Twitter app, they're on Instagram, they're on Telegram.
So what's the point? I mean, you're on all of these. I mean, do you have time? Do you pay attention to every little detail that comes through all of them?
It depends on if you communicate with it. I don't think.
I'm able to manage Facebook. Even Instagram, I haven't even posted any photos there yet.
I have a page there, but I haven't posted it. I don't intend posting, actually.
I think
I'm not fond of sending my private pictures up and down. Yeah.
I think Facebook alone is fine.
Yeah,
I'll stick to that.
I think WhatsApp is okay. I haven't been on Facebook for a long time.
Yeah.
But please send those messages to us. We'll be very grateful to have them. Again, we have to tell you, we have a special interview with Dr. Kofi Kunedu-Apreku of the MPP. He was one-time or three-time Member of Parliament for Finso North in the Ashanti region, and also one-time Minister of Trade, Regional Integration, and that part as well.
And you spoke to him, you did that interview. He still wants to be president?
Yeah. We're taking a short break. We'll be right back.